day 50 Cent was shot, I was walking through, and BMF was there too. Meech and them was there too.
Has more cred than you, living after being shot 9 fucking times.
I don't know what the criteria are for street credibility. Or
That's
if
it.
If there's something that creates more merit for you. I looked at that experience as something that was unfortunate that I had to.
I forget why the guy shot you 9 times. Was it drugs or something?
He was paid to do it.
He was paid to do it.
Everybody knows 50 Cent got shot 9 times back in the day. That's old news. Part of hip-hop history at this point. But what most folks don't know is that Gan Deal was actually one of the very first people to check in on him right after it went down. That move raised a lot of eyebrows, because Gan wasn't just some random dude, he was rocking heavy with the Murder Inquest crew back then, which meant he had access to serious inside info about what was really happening in the streets and the industry beefs fueling the fire. And here's where things get real twisted. Not only was Gan close to the situation, but years later, 50 himself ended up taking down the very same man who was tied to that shooting. That flipped the whole narrative upside down, because it blurred the lines between loyalty, betrayal, and survival.
Karma.
Explain to me again why this guy was hired to shoot you 9 times.
Well, he was paid because someone, felt like that I would potentially do something to them if they kept going in the direction that they were going.
Man, you are tough.
But now, 50 is flipping the script, claiming Gene didn't just make a sympathy call. He might have been one of the main reasons 50 even survived that wild night. Think about it for a second. When you start connecting the dots, it doesn't look random at all. It looks calculated. Too many moving pieces. Too many questions that never got answered. What really went down during that hit? Who was pulling the strings behind the scenes while 50 was laid up, fighting for his life? That's where Gene Deal, former bodyguard to Diddy, steps in. Gene just dropped some heavy claims that could flip the entire way we look at 50's infamous 2000 shooting. According to him, the streets already knew there were layers to that hit, but what he's saying now adds a whole new dimension. He suggests powerful figures were working in the shadows, people with enough reach to decide who lived, who got taken out, and who was protected. If Gene's story holds weight, then 50 surviving wasn't luck, it was chess. Somebody made a move to make sure he pulled through, and the bigger question is why. Was it because they saw him as a potential star who couldn't die yet? Was it because his survival benefited someone else in the game? Or could it have been part of a bigger power struggle where 50's life was just another pawn on the board?
Gotti and them had put it out there like they was a part of it and they was gonna do it that night, the day at the meeting.
For years, people have been throwing out wild theories about who really wanted 50 gone, but Gene's version, it points to something much bigger. He hints that some serious power players were moving in the shadows, orchestrating the whole thing. Like a game of chess, and the deeper you dig, the more the puzzle pieces start lining up in ways that make you question everything we thought we knew. According to Gene, he was down in Mexico with the BMF crew when the word came through. 50 had just been hit 9 times. The news spread fast, and the streets were buzzing. But here's where it gets real messy. Gene claims 50's own former manager reached out to him, trying to connect with none other than Supreme. Yet that's Supreme, the same name everyone has always linked to 50's shooting. So you gotta ask yourself, why would someone from 50's own circle be trying to connect with the very man who was allegedly tied to the hit? That detail alone throws up massive red flags. It almost makes it seem like they already knew who was behind it, like the shock wasn't as real as it should have been. That changes the whole narrative. This wasn't just some random beef boiling over. This was a power play, a setup, a move being made at the highest levels of the streets and the music industry. Gene even pointed out that the tension was already sky high and one name kept getting dragged into the mix over and over again: Murder Inc.
He's sitting these there. I don't care if you agree with the rationale. And 50's 50, he gonna stand in it. He gonna stand strong in it. I look at it from both sides.
According to Gene, the way folks from the label were moving raised some serious eyebrows. It was almost like they weren't shocked by what happened. Almost like 50 getting hit was part of a script they already saw coming. And when you look at it from both sides, it makes you wonder if people inside the industry already knew something big was about to go down. Let's keep it real. 50 Cent and Murder Inc. had one of the most explosive, dangerous beefs in hip-hop history. This wasn't just rap disses on wax. This was real-life tension spilling into the streets. So when Gene started calling out the strange behavior he saw from Murder Inc.'s camp, people didn't just brush it off. The whispers got louder. Fans, insiders, even street voices started dropping names, saying Irv, Gotti, and Ja Rule might have been deeper in this whole mess than anyone was willing to admit. And here's the kicker. These weren't just wild conspiracy theories. This was happening at the exact time when 50 was climbing to the top, while Murder Inc. was holding their crown strong. The timing couldn't have been worse, or more suspicious, but the story only gets crazier. Murder Inc. wasn't just a rap label pumping out hits. They had serious street ties, and everybody in the game knew it. Irv Gotti's camp was tight with Supreme, one of the most feared and respected names in the underworld. That connection alone blurred the lines between hip-hop and the streets in a way most labels never dared. By 2003, the whole thing exploded. Federal agents raided Murder Inc.'s offices, digging for proof of major money laundering and looking straight into ties with Supreme's drug empire. Suddenly, all those whispers about the label and the streets being connected didn't feel so far-fetched anymore. Irv and his brother would eventually beat the charges, walking away from the case. But the damage was done. The raid put a spotlight on just how close Murder Inc. and Supreme really were. And that left one burning question. If Supreme really wanted 50 out of the picture, was Murder Inc. just sitting back and watching it all unfold? Or were they more involved than anybody's willing to admit?
And they are now where?
Well, the guy who actually shot me is dead. The guy who paid him got life in jail.
Got life in jail.
Ow. Fast forward to today, minus 50 Cent still hasn't buried the hatchet. When Irv Gotti recently passed, you'd think maybe the beef would fade. But 50 wasted no time jumping on Instagram with pure jokes. No rip, no condolences, just clowning. That alone shows the grudge is still alive, and 50's not backing down 1 inch. And when Gene Deal dropped his explosive claims, 50 didn't shy away. He reposted the entire interview, basically stamping it with his approval. And let's be real, 50 doesn't co-sign just anything, so him backing Gene Deal speaks volumes. Hinting there's real weight behind those words. But then the story takes an even darker turn with the name, Daryl Homicide Baum. Not some random street figure, Baum was deeply tied to Mike Tyson, even serving as his personal bodyguard. Their bond went back to Brooklyn, with Baum Street reputation giving Tyson extra muscle around him. And while Tyson himself has never been directly tied to 50's shooting, the association kept speculation alive for years. To this day, no solid evidence links Tyson to the incident, and 50 has never pointed the finger at him, but Baum's role was quietly acknowledged. If you've ever listened to Many Men, then you already know his name, and you know exactly how his story ended.
This guy, but he acts like he's the Yeah, he's really, real nice guy. Yeah, I know that's like he hides his heart and tries to, motherfucker, I'll kill you.
Just 3 weeks after 50 Cent was nearly killed, Daryl Homicide Baum himself was fatally gunned down in Brooklyn during what reports called a narcotics dispute. But because his name had already been floating around in connection with 50's shooting, the timing of his death only fueled suspicions. Was it just coincidence, or was it part of a bigger cycle of payback in the streets? And that's when another shadowy figure from 50's inner circle steps into the picture. Monster, the rapper's longtime bodyguard. Word is, he's now preparing to break his silence, demanding a 6-figure payday to finally tell his side. But Monster wasn't just muscle. He was 50's trusted enforcer, Quiet Storm, who moved with military-like precision. While almost nothing is known about his past, his constant presence in those early G-Unit videos told the world everything about his role. Always in the cut, always alert, always 10 steps ahead. There's even that famous clip of 50 moving through an airport while Monster ducked cameras, staying in the shadows like a ghost. And when 50 hit clubs or stages, Monster was there, scanning every face in the crowd. One of the most talked about moments, that tense face-off between 50 and Trav. On stage, if you watch closely, you can see Monster locked in, eyes never leaving Trav, ready to strike if things went left. But now the loyalty seems broken. Word is 50 cut Monster loose. And that's where things get dangerous. Because insiders say Monster's not just holding stories, he's got receipts. And if he really decides to talk, the things he reveals could shake the entire legacy of 50 Cent.
The call I got about Monster Wack, you're like, this what
you call me 18 months ago, Ray?
Monster's name keeps coming up, and for good reason. Word is, he's holding on to some serious secrets, including a mysterious YouTube video that allegedly exposed pieces of 50's past crimes before it mysteriously vanished. And here's where the twist gets wild. Wack 100 went on the Getty radio show claiming Monster is chasing $1 million deal for a tell-all interview. If that's true, then whatever Monster knows has to be nuclear. But even with Monster in the background, the heat on 50 never cooled down. Surviving 9 shots didn't scare his enemies off, it just made them more patient, more careful. Case in point, September 2003, Jersey City. Just 8 months after Get Rich or Die Tryin' took over the world, 50 almost got caught slipping again. He was leaving a hotel when shooters opened fire on him and his crew. Straight setup. This time, nobody got hit. But the message couldn't have been clearer. Someone out there still wanted 50 gone. That second attempt changed everything. 50 realized he couldn't move like a regular rapper anymore. No more casual runs, no reckless exposure. It was lockdown mode, heavy security, calculated moves, no room for mistakes. Around that time, he kept Frank Alexander, aka Big Frank, by his side. making sure nothing slipped. Because in 50's world, one missed detail could have meant the end.
We got up there, we came in, and you had Navy SEALs with 2 in all directions. I was about 6 of them.
When you get hurt that bad, either your fear consumes you or you become a bit insensitive. So just after...
Which one was it for you?
There was a point that I was afraid.
Afraid?
Yeah, following that.
But now, 50 isn't just rolling with friends or old street soldiers, he's rolling with ex-military and ex-police professionals. His security is airtight, like something out of a presidential detail. He doesn't play with safety, and he's always 2 steps ahead, moving like a boss who's lived through too many close calls to ever let his guard down again. After everything he's been through, 9 shots, betrayals, and setups that could have ended him, it's no wonder trust is the one thing he can't afford. From industry snakes to the politics of the streets, even people who once claimed to be his day ones have switched up when it mattered most. And honestly, through all the noise, the one person who consistently looked out for him was Gene Deal. The second word broke that 50 had been shot, Gene was already on the phone piecing things together. He wasn't chasing clout, he wasn't running to the cameras, he was hunting for the truth. And years later, he's still dropping bombs that most people wouldn't dare to whisper in private. While others played both sides or stayed quiet. To protect themselves, Gene kept paying attention, calling out what he saw, and sounding alarms when things didn't add up. Maybe 50 didn't give him all his flowers back then, but now, you can tell, he finally recognizes who really had his back. But let's be real for a second, what do you think is really going on here? If Gene had the inside scoop from the jump, how deep does this rabbit hole really go? Is Munster about to spill the kind of secrets that could shake the game forever? Or is there another play being made behind the curtain? And after all these years, why does it still feel like some powerful people out there want 50 completely off the board? Drop your theories in the comments below. I want to hear what you think. And don't forget, smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss these deep dives. Share this with somebody who needs to hear the real story. I'll catch you on the next one.